For this week's market update, I'm just going to stare into the camera and scowl for the next 10 minutes. Well, not really. Market's not that bad. I'm Ron Milligan with RE/MAX Select, and as usual, I have the weekly market update for the Portland metro area, both Southwest Washington and the full Portland metro area, including all of the bedroom communities. So let's get into it. First thing, as always, is the inventory of active listings. That was up a little bit. Let's see, we came in at 5511. The week before, we were at 5489. That's up a little bit, but it is still below that high water mark we had about 6-8 weeks ago at 5528. And what's significant about this is that we just kind of keep bouncing in this same range without gaining any new listings or really losing any new listings. So we seem to be pretty stagnant there for now over 2 months in this range of active listings. The number of new pending deals was up slightly versus the previous week, 551 versus 574. So up a little bit, but versus last year, roughly the same time period last year, that number was 894. So we're obviously not doing as well as we were last year. And of course, last year was fueled by crazy low interest rates. What's significant about this is it is up a little bit. The numbers are below where we had been last year or over the previous weeks, and certainly over the summer. But the number should be declining as we finish out the year. Now we're starting to enter a quieter time, which is a time that's typically a quieter time for a normal market in the metro area. The number of new active listings was down versus the previous week. We came in at 619. The previous week it was 662. Last year at this time that number was around 661. So we have fewer new listings this year versus last year. The thing that's significant about that is that this number should be low. It seems to be low, and it's probably lower than what this number is representing, just due to those folks that are, those agents and sellers that are repackaging their old listings as new and resubmitting to the market. So not a huge surprise there. The number of homes that sold was down. So previous week we're at 597. This week we came in at 528. Last year at this time, that number, I checked the notes from the numbers I drew last year, that number was 743. So not a huge difference, kind of that normal margin between last year and this year that we've been expecting and that we've been seeing throughout the summer. But what is significant about this number probably should have been higher, because I went back 4 weeks to see what the new pending deals were doing, and that was a kind of a high number. So yeah, this number should have been higher probably than it did come in at. So yeah, I'm not sure if that's just because agents are doing longer escrow periods to allow for a bit more negotiation over repairs and things like that, where we haven't been doing that for a couple of years leading up to the springtime. So maybe things are taking a little bit longer to close, and we're experiencing some delays because of that. So we'll just see what those numbers come in at the next week and see if maybe there's a bit of lag in there. The number of price reductions was pretty much the same. Last week it was 834. This week it came in at 842. That's a number that we've been seeing for the last month plus. And the number of significant price reductions, those of $15,000 or more, was 477. That was down slightly from last week. Not a huge change there. Where we did see a change is in the average and days on market. Both those numbers did slip versus the previous week. So we came in average at 32. Last year that number was 23. And the median came in at 20. Last year that number was 10. And that was a big jump up last year. I think we went from 7 to 10 in 1 week's time period. Also, what was kind of interesting was the average sale price went up for the second week in a row. We hit kind of a low a couple of weeks ago, and it's been slowly increasing. It was about a $10,000 increase from the previous week to last week. And comparing that to the previous year, so roughly the same week last year, that number jumped up, was close to 27,000. So 589,761 is what we saw for the average sale price. So that's only an increase of 4.2% versus the previous week where we came in at 7.7. Median was 495.5 versus 520 last year. That's a 5.7% increase in the median sale price last year to this year. The previous week that number was 8.1, and we'd had that number for a couple of weeks. Why this is significant is it's just indicating what typically happens this time of year as the average sale price starts to decline as the market starts to cool off. I've said it many, many times before, typically the highest average sale price and median sale price is some week in May, April or May, or maybe in the beginning of June, and then prices continually typically decline from that point on. For the homes that did sell to the average sale price to the original asking price was coming in at 96.29. What's significant about this is that's just incrementally been decreasing week after week after week. Keep in mind that this is not about this is about seller expectation versus versus market reality. So sellers may have an expectation that they're going to get this price way up here because that's what they've been seeing, and that's what Zillow has been telling them. And when they put it on the market, the reality sets in and they have to reduce the price to get to the point where a buyer is willing to make an offer on it. So that's more about seller expectation versus market reality. REOs, which is real estate owned, that's an industry way of saying bank-owned properties, and short sales were about the same as last week. We came in at 26 bank-owned properties and 17 short sales. That's active pending and short sale pending. Keep in mind that that number is versus our number of active and pending listings, which is around 8,700 this week. So still a really insignificant number of distressed properties on the market. Expired and canceleds came in at 153 for canceled listings, and 39 came in for the expired listings. So as I always say, all real estate is local. If you're curious about what's going on in your neck of the woods, feel free to reach out to me, call, text, email. I'm happy to share what I know, do a bit of research for you, and give me a thumbs up on the video. I'd love that, or subscribe if you haven't done that yet. And then there are a couple links down below. One is to our website if you want to cruise around the listings. You can use our website to do that. And also, if you're curious about the value of your home, maybe you're not ready to actually talk to a realtor, but there is a link down below to my robot who's more than happy to talk to you about the value of your home. So that's what I've got for you this week. I will see you next week, same time, same place.